Hello and welcome to our very special February webinar. This year is a leap year. We've got an extra day, so extra special announcement to share with you all. So thanks so much for all making it today. I know we're starting actually really on time, and we're going to just go through some really nice talks today. We have a tight hour, so we'll keep it on schedule. So Kartik, can I ask you to take me to the next slide, please? So yes, you've probably seen, you may have already read the news. We have a big announcement today that the Envision app, has gone live on the BlindShell Classic 2, which is fantastic news. That was the launch that we've been wanting to share, and we are very, very pleased. That is literally rolling out now on the BlindShell 2 catalog. And to tell us more about BlindShell and to answer some questions is the senior product program manager from BlindShell. That's Diane Deschamps, and she's going to be doing a question and answer and having a chat with Kartik in a little bit. So welcome, Diane. Super to have you with us today. And if any of you had, maybe you've already received your Blind Abilities podcast, do take a listen to that as well after the show, because it's a great interview there with Kartik Cannon and Diane and Barry from BlindShell with Jeff and Pete, and it's a great talk actually. So that's the highlight really in terms of our guest speaker today, and then I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into what we're doing at CSUN. There's some details there for those that are making it. Don't worry, for those who aren't making it, I'll tell you what we're going to do about that as well. And then, of course, we get under the hood with Kartik Cannon about the products, what's going on, what's new, and what's coming. And then we try and make as much time as possible for Q&A, which is probably why I'm talking really fast. Sorry, I'm mindful of the time today. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Kartik. Thanks, Kartik.
All right, Rance, thanks a lot for that introduction. And like you said, starting of the year, and I think this is something that we also hinted and I mentioned at the previous webinar, that this year is going to be a year sort of filled with updates after updates, sort of like throughout the year. And like one such big update is rolling out as we speak, which is basically the announcement of Envision on the BlindShell Classic 2. BlindShell Classic 2 is a smartphone that a lot of you are probably already aware of, but if you're not, just stay tuned. We will be talking a lot more about what this phone is and what the capabilities of it are shortly. But the big announcement for the day is that Envision, which is a free app on all smartphones, in an effort and in an endeavor to make ourselves even more accessible to a lot more people, have put in a diligent effort with the BlindShell team to include our app inside of their phones. It's going to be available to all the BlindShell users for free, so they can start making use of all the amazing AI functionalities that are already available on the Envision app completely accessibly on their phone. So this is an endeavor that you will sort of like continue to see Envision put effort into ensuring that our application is available on as many devices as possible. So if there is a device out there that we can put Envision's app into, we will put all of our efforts to put into it. So this is the first in line of many such announcements that you can expect from us throughout the year. If there is a device out there that you think we should be on, just let us know. But the big announcement of the day is Envision app on the BlindShell Classic 2. And to talk a bit more about that and to talk a bit more about the developments of that, I have with me Diane. Let me just quickly introduce her to the people who probably are not aware of her. So Diane is a professional in the field of blindness, and that extends from a case management to vocational counseling to blind and low vision outreach, and now a customer and a tech support at BlindShell USA. And if that is not enough to keep her busy, like Diane is also leading a nationwide support group that meets virtually every month. She is a keen sports fan, especially at the college level, and you can make a Diane happy with anything to do with like Snoopy and the Peanuts. And she's also a fan of the band Nickelback. So without any further ado, let me invite Diane onto the webinar, and let's have a chat with her. So hi Dan, welcome to Envision's like a webinar.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So yeah, I think it's been a long sort of like process between Envision and like a BlindShell team. A lot of to and fro's, a lot of development and testing and ensuring like all of our like users have the right experience. But finally, the day has arrived. We have a launched Envision app on the BlindShell phone. What is your reaction right now? Is it a relief? Is it excitement? Can you talk to us a bit more about how you're like feeling about this announcement today?
Well, I am very excited because it has been on our beta phone for quite a while, and I've been playing with it, and I'm like, come on, let's go, let's release this, because this is such a great app for people who are blind or visually impaired, because it just does so much, and it's accurate. So I'm really excited for today, and I know that we've had already some downloads of the app. I know there seemed to have been a leak about this app coming out, and people have been really excited. People have been calling and saying, is it true? And I'm like, maybe. We'll find out on the 29th. So yeah, people have been anticipating it.
Awesome. So maybe like Diane, it'll be interesting for our audience to also for people who both know about a BlindShell, but also people who don't know about BlindShell to sort of learn a bit about what is a BlindShell, what was the purpose with which it was created, and what has been like the origin story behind the BlindShell phones.
The blind. That is actually mine ringing. I am so sorry. I never get a call on it. And of course, now I do. So the BlindShell is an accessible cell phone. It has a screen, but the screen is for display only. So if you still have enough sight that you can see the screen, then that is great, but you don't have to see the screen to use the phone. So somebody who is totally blind can still use the BlindShell, because everything is tactile on the phone and everything is spoken. So we actually have a tactile keypad with a very pronounced dot on the number 5 for orientation purposes. We also have navigation bars. So the BlindShell is menu driven. There's no swiping, there's no tapping. So if you're somebody who likes the fact that you have actual tactile buttons, you have actual tactile navigation buttons, then the BlindShell is a great phone for you. Our battery level, our battery lasts about 90 hours in between with you, because you don't have to worry so much about, oh my gosh, am I going to be out somewhere and I'm not going to have the battery power I need to call for my ride or do what I need to do. The BlindShell has, well, the beginning of the BlindShell actually started, I should go there, way back, I believe it was 2013. It was at a university, and there was an engineering student, and his friend was visually impaired, and everybody else was using their cell phone. And at that point, his visually impaired friend was left out of being able to use a phone. So as an engineering student, he did what engineering students do. He developed an accessible phone for his friend. It was very simple. It could only go up, down, left, right, but it was something that his friend found useful. So they entered that phone into a competition and they won. And they received funding, and from there, they developed the BlindShell Classic, which came out in 2019. And the BlindShell Classic was good for what it was meant to do. in the fall of 2021, BlindShell came out with the BlindShell Classic 2. So the actual hardware was different. There was a lot more to the software, a lot more emphasis on expansion. So that's where we are today with the BlindShell Classic 2. And we're a closed platform, meaning that you can only download the applications that are in the BlindShell app catalog, but we have well over 60 apps in there, and we continue to add all the time. So Envision is our latest application that we have added to the phone.
Awesome. All right. No, that is a pretty, good understanding of what BlindShell is and how it started. And so now, can you also talk to us a bit more about what variations of BlindShells are available? Because we know that there is the BlindShell Classic 2, and in what channels are these phones available? So, like, if somebody wants to get one, what is the way for them to get one?
So right now, the only phone that is available, well, I shouldn't say available, the only phone that is working in the United States is the BlindShell Classic 2. So you want to make sure that you are getting a BlindShell Classic 2, simply because of how all the cellular carriers have changed. The Classic 2 is what we are selling now. That's our focus. So if somebody was interested in purchasing the Classic 2, they can go to blindshellusa.com, or if there is a blindness retail store or website that you tend to buy all your blindness products from, check them out as well. We have several distributors across the United States that are selling the BlindShell Classic 2. Now, the BlindShell Classic 2, it's an unlocked phone, and it's a dual SIM card phone. So it's sold all over the world. So if you're not in the United States, check with your local blindness agency or retail and see if they have the phone. And if not, you can always contact us, blindshellusa.com, and we can help you locate a place where you could purchase it.
Perfect. That sounds good. So Dan, we know now a bit about the origins of BlindShell. We know what you're working on as of now. There's a bunch of applications that are on there, but the latest addition to that application store is Envision, which definitely improves the experience of people on the BlindShell like phones, if I may say so myself. What's the future? Like, what is down the pipeline for like for BlindShell? Can you also maybe give us a hint about what the long-term vision of your BlindShell is?
Well, we're always looking to add new applications. We listen to what our customers are asking for. The big thing last year was Bard. Everybody wanted Bard on the BlindShell. So we worked and we got Bard on here. We recently added Script Talk and Envision. And so we're continuing to add. I don't know what the next big announcement is going to be. They generally, I'm usually the last to know because I have a big mouth and I could be the one who leaks things. So I'm kind of like the last to know what the big release is going to be because I get so excited and I just want to share it with everybody about what's coming out. So I can guarantee that there are going to be future applications that are coming this year, but I can't tell you what they are right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. And I can sense the relief that you have now that you can finally talk about Envision without being hush about it. So that must be a big relief. All of us at Envision are also incredibly excited about this partnership, and we're just incredibly excited for also feedback from the community. So if you have people already starting to use it, to convey those feedback, come back to us. That's super important for us to know what the experience is, and I hope that like a lot more people who now have heard about this announcement can go and install the Envision app on their BlindShell phones. Before we segue off, is there anything else that you would like to convey to our audience on this on this webinar? Like, what will be the best way for them to reach you in case they have questions or like doubts about Envision app, or that is now on the BlindShell phones or the BlindShell phones in itself?
Sure. So first I want to say that you will find the Envision app in the app catalog. So just go into your app catalog. You'll click on browse. You can click on recommended, click on all, and then the apps are listed in alphabetical order. Go down to Envision, hit OK on that. It'll ask if you want to download it, hit OK. It'll download it, install it, and you'll find it under the Vision Aids folder. And then you need to, if you already have an Envision plan, so I've had Envision on another phone, so I just logged in using the same credentials. But if you're a new Envision person, then you want to create an account and simply your email and create a password so that you can sign in. And you sign in with email, and that's how you can get your Envision app up and running. So if you have any questions about BlindShell or an Envision app, you can contact BlindShell at 833-972-2020, or you can email me at Diane, D-I-A-N-E, at blindshellusa.com.
Perfect. And then a final a question for you, Diane. Are you going to be at a CSUN in Anaheim next month?
We are, yes. So I don't remember our booth's number, but if you're attending and you go into the exhibit hall and you're looking in the doors of the exhibit hall, we're going to be in the first row on the right.
Perfect. And like, I'm definitely excited to like meet you there at Diane. It'll be it'll be exciting to actually meet in person after your months of talking over a call. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I would like to thank you, for coming on. Do stick around, up to the end, because we do have a Q&A that will start, and people from the audience can also ask you a question. So if there's anybody from the audience who wants to ask a question, just stick around, and you can ask a question if you have about the BlindShell to Diane directly on this call. And with that, I would like to segue into the next thing that we want to announce on the webinar is more about CSUN. And with all the updates about Envision at CSUN, we have Vanessa back on.
Thank you, Kartik. And Diana, thank you again. Fantastic news today. And just plugging that we will also have a BlindShell phone on the Envision stand at CSUN. So we can also, happy to show people, which will be great. So CSUN, I mean, for people who aren't going, sorry in advance for banging on about it, but it is such an important show for the blind and low vision community and those in assistive technology in general. The conference program every year for me is hugely informative. And, we always lose our voice on the stand. I feel mine already feeling a bit funny, actually, as I talk about it. So, but I wanted to give everybody a bit of a taste of what's coming. Of course, as usual, we're going to be at our booth 1011. We've been on it for the last 3 years. And you can see that as you come into the exhibit hall and actually turn left. So into the smaller room, if you will, but for the special room. And we've got a big team there. So we have expanded our US sales team, and they are all going to be there. We're also going to have my colleague Priyanka, our colleague Priyanka there, who heads up international. which is fantastic because for her, we have this huge international distribution as well. And the Kartiks, myself, Bagia, who's our head of business development. So actually a very big team. And we'll be there to, more than anything, let people try the glasses and what's new. And of course, you know, lots has happened. And many of you who attend our webinars regularly, get our newsletters, and use the product will know this, of course, right? So ask Envision. And I again don't want to give too much away, but we do have something really exciting, and we always use that word, but this is really the next reiteration for Envision. I can't talk about it a bit more. And in fact, to be honest, the Kartiks have kept it very much between them, because I think I'm a bit like you, Diane. If they tell me things, I can't help but tell the world, right? So don't tell marketing, but I've got a good idea. And it's really fascinating. So do come along. We will give more information about it. Of course we will. But right now we want to just get to as far a position as we can, and give as much information as we can for the show itself. So booth 1011, we're also offering a 10% discount to anyone who orders a pair of glasses at the show. We've done that last year. It's a nice thing to do, but please come along and give it a try, because we have 3 different editions, and we have, you know, choice for people depending on their needs and their wants. We also, both the Kartiks are in the conference panel. We've got 2 really interesting presentations, one on March the 19th and one on March the 20th. The one on March the 19th in the afternoon is around visionary tech. So AI's impact on accessibility. Of course, AI was already a big topic last year, right? I think it came over and sort of was like a sort of tornado through everything. Well, it's a lot happened. I mean, you know, I keep hearing all these webinars and talks about Envision AI, you know, seeing AI, Be My Eyes AI, whatever it is. And it is really fantastic. So that's a great session where you can kind of get an update on all the things AI. And then on March the 20th, together with Mike May, actually, we're doing a talk. I think, Kartik Cannon, you're doing this on hands-free access to a world of information. This is really more talking about wearables, which is also, you know, another big disruptor in our space. Of course, Envision's the only one that has a true wearable, accessible device. But, you know, there's others coming out there, and there's other great product that we're super excited about as well. So I think that's going to be more looking at that side of things, whereas the other one is looking at AI. So if you want to book a time with us, by all means do. You can just email us at our support email, which is support@letsenvision.com. But just turn up, please. We've got enough of us on site, and you know, I'm also putting out updates onto our community channels and our social channels. So do follow us or subscribe to the email so that you can keep up to date as we go forward. But I can't wait. I really can't. And I'm going to take some nice tea with me so I can keep my voice in shape, I think, for the event. But that's my update on CSUN, and to stay tuned. Thanks, Kartik.
All right, thanks, Vanessa. And with that, let's go to the final, but the most exciting segment of the webinar, which is Under the Hood with Kartik Kannan.
Hey everybody, this is Kartik, your monthly webinar Under the Hood Santa, giving you some more, coming with some more interesting tidbits from what's cooking and the Envision Lab. So with regards to the app, we now have the BlindShell. We've got Envision app on the BlindShell device. It's got all the features that you would expect in the regular Envision, in any version of the Envision app that you might run on any other smartphone like iOS and Android. And we are working on some other interesting stuff that probably could be exclusive to the BlindShell device itself, with the BlindShell team, and we're hoping to roll that out in the near future. Another big improvement that we are also working on right now is Ask Envision for Describe Scene within the Envision app. So this is a feature that you all have requested for quite some time, if you want, on the Envision app, because you've loved this feature on the Envision glasses. And so we're going to be bringing this to the Envision app very soon. With that, you would just be able to go ahead and get a description of any image that you take. And you can ask follow-up questions of that description itself. You could go ahead and take a picture of an outdoors of the great outdoors and ask it questions like, give me a description of the sky. Or you could take a picture of your dog and say, hey, can you tell me what he looks like today? So there's a lot that you could do with this feature. It's one of the most loved features on the glasses, and I'm very sure it's going to be extremely loved on the Envision app as well. Another feature that, another big addition that we're bringing is also to the glasses. We're going to be adding the Bulgarian language to the glasses. We're also working on a lot of improvements to the general user experience, making sure that, you're able to go ahead and experience a much faster speed, especially when you're using, for example, the Ask Envision feature on both scan text and describe scene. So we're working on those two updates right now, especially with the update that we have planned for Ask Envision on the Envision glasses. You should be able to experience it at speeds that are that seem almost like you're having a conversation with a super intelligent human being. So that's what we're working on under the hood at Envision. It's a pretty exciting month for us as we go into CSUN. And I know Vanessa and Karthik have spoken a lot about why you should be coming and checking us out at CSUN. And I'll tell you again, this is going to be the most special CSUN that Envision's ever done in all of our existence so far. It's going to be something crazy. I hope you guys would love it. Whatever we're going to be putting out there. So please drop by our booth at CSUN and get a glimpse of the future. So thank you.
Awesome. So thanks for that. Before we jump into the Q&A, let me just quickly go and just inform you guys how you can ask us the questions that you want to ask us. There are a bunch of options on a Zoom. You can ask us a question either by using the Q&A option that's on Zoom itself, where you type in a question, and then we can either answer those questions live on the webinar, or we can reply to you by a text itself. You can also just put in a comment on the webinar, and we'll also be reading that. If you are watching on a YouTube, you can also just use the chat function there and ask us your question. On a Zoom, there's also an option for some of you to come on the panel and ask us your questions directly. So if the question that you have is a bit more complex and you don't have the patience to type it out, simply use the like a raise hand function, which is in Zoom, and you can use that to ask us a question as well. You can also use your keyboard shortcuts in a Zoom to a raise hand. On a Mac, that will be Option Y, and on a Windows, that will be Alt Y. So if you do Option Y or Alt Y, that will activate the raise hand function. And when we see a raised hand, we will invite them onto the webinar, and they can have chat with us directly. You will have to unmute yourself. So when you are on the panel, you're typically on a mute, and you will have to unmute yourself before you ask us your question. You can either do that with the buttons that are on Zoom, or you can also use a keyboard shortcut. To unmute yourself, the keyboard shortcut for a Windows is Alt-A, and for a Mac, the shortcut is Command-Shift-A. So without further ado, I already see a bunch of questions that are starting to pile up. So let's get to answering. There is a question from Carlos Obando, who asks, do you have plans with Apple Vision Pro in the future? Yes, Apple Vision Pro is a very exciting development and a device, and Envision already has a version of our app on it. But as of now, the Apple Vision Pro has certain limitations, because of which Envision is not able to take full advantage of it. Mainly the one that is to do with the camera that's on the Apple Vision Pro. So as of now, Apple does not allow any of the third-party developers to make use of the camera or the camera feed of the Apple Vision Pro. And without having an access to the camera feed, there's nothing much that Envision can do in terms of processing the images or the video feed that is being captured in it. So in the current version, there's not too much that we or any third-party developers can do with Apple Vision Pro. But our hope is that down the line, Apple will open up access to the camera to third-party developers as well, exactly how they did with their phones to begin with. And as and when we have that, we will definitely be on top of it. And we're definitely constantly engaging with the Apple team to make sure that we can have that access early on and build a lot more fun applications on the Apple Vision Pro. Then there is a bunch of questions about the BlindShell devices as well. There are two questions, like Diane, that I will ask you. There is one from like Beth, who is asking, are the apps on the BlindShell created by the BlindShell, or do they come from the Android App Store?
So both. BlindShell does have a development team where they do create their own applications, like the podcast player is a BlindShell application, but we also have a lot of third-party apps such as Envision, Alexa, Bard, WhatsApp, Script Talk. So we do have a lot of the third-party apps as well. So it's both, actually. So the BlindShell is Android under the hood with BlindShell software.
Understood. All right, that is clear. Then there is a question from Joseph Marks, and Joseph is asking how much like a memory is on the BlindShell 2?
It has 12 gigs of internal, but can hold an SD card up to 256.
Got it. Clear.
And maybe more. That's just the highest that I've used.
Okay. All right. That's clear. If there are, if there's anyone from the audience who want to come on the panel and ask a question, you can also just raise your hand. And if we see a raised hand, we will invite them onto the panel and ask, and you can ask us a question directly as well. And I see a couple of raised hands already. I'm going to go with the first one, which is Michael Stadler. Michael, you can unmute yourself and you can ask us the question. Michael, you can unmute yourself and then ask us a question.
Hello. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay. Wonderful evening. I'm Michael Stadler from Germany, and I'm using Envision glasses since 2 years already. And I have a question. As I heard about that Google will finish the support for Envision glasses, and they will, or you will look for new hardware. Is there anything planned that a new glasses that will come? Is there anything planned that a new glass will have also an LED inside? I have sometimes the situation that I'm in a room and I'm not sure whether the lights are bright enough. And I know it from my eye, from the OrCam, you know about it. Is there anything planned that there will be a hardware soon with an LED inside?
Got it. Yes, Michael. Good question. As of now, we don't really have like hardware that we have like finalized on. We're evaluating a bunch of options. There are definitely a few out there which does have like a flash or an LED in, and they do have a preference that like from our side as well. So yeah, like we are still in very early stages of that development for now. We still have a lot of stock of the Google Glass, and that's primarily the focus that we have from a development standpoint as of now. But we are already evaluating alternate pieces of like hardware that we will be porting to eventually. And yeah, and having a flash or an LED is something that we're looking at as an added value in those pieces of hardware. I hope that answers the question, Michael. All right, then with that, I'm going to the next raised hand, which is Steve Nutt. Steve, you can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Hello, Karthik. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I just want to talk about one or two odd inconsistencies between the glasses and the app. I did send it to the support thing, but why, for example, can you not teach a face on the glasses without getting the phone out of your pocket? So in other words, why are some of the features only available in the app and not, why can't you do them directly on the glasses, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so I think like a feature like your teacher face, we made a conscious decision to sort of not allow it to for it to happen on the glasses, because for you to get there are two reasons like sort of for that basically, and it's both a design and a user experience one. Basically, you need a good sort of like close up your photo of a person's face for it to be taught to the Envision application and the glasses. And if you're attempting to take a close-up image of a person's face, it's going to be very sort of challenging to do that with the glasses, because you need to be like really up close to that person's face for you to actually be able to capture a close-up of that person with the glasses. So it's not a great user experience to go up to people's like faces and to be able to capture a picture of them with the glasses. But with a phone, you can simply just either sort of or take the pictures yourself, or you can simply hand them your phone and they can take the pictures using the selfie mode on a phone. So it just just makes for a better user experience for being able to teach a face on a phone as opposed to the glasses. And because a function like teaching a face is not a function that you will use every day, like you won't teach a new face to the glasses every day. It's probably something you will like teach once, and then you will just use the recognition a lot more often. That is why we optimized for a better experience on the phone than having it on the glasses, which does not make for a great user experience in our opinion.
Oh, fair enough. I would have thought though it would be okay, but you're saying that the distance, the camera distance, you'd have to be closer with because I would have thought holding a phone is more difficult than holding glasses on your head. That's what I'm saying. I'm totally blind, so I would have thought that the option, you should allow the option so that people can do it either way.
Yeah, I think I think it's just more about a close up of the image, like 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 the closer that you are to the face, the better details that are captured by the camera, and the better details that are captured, the more accurate the face recognition is going to be. So that's why we sort of so advise or in this case more enforce people to do the teaching on the phone, because that will that will result in a more accurate outcome for them.
And the other inconsistency is barcodes. I don't find you can't find barcodes on, as far as I know, on the glasses, but you can on the phone. But yet you can find QR codes.
Yeah. So that's actually an interesting like problem as well, and that is also something that actually comes in place due to the way the like the cameras on these glasses are, right? Like what we have found that for us to be able to recognize like barcodes, the barcodes need to be really like close to the cameras sort of like frame. So on the glasses, basically we have a wide angle camera. So for it to be able to actually very accurately detect a barcode, it needs to be horizontally in front of it and super close to your face. So until and unless you do that, it's very hard for people to just sort of hold a product in their hand, and for the glasses, a camera to be able to like capture like sort of put a barcode on it. So we did build a barcode, a reader on the glasses as well, but because it was so difficult for people to accurately do the positioning of the barcode in front of the camera, that it was almost unusable experience of reading a barcode.
I wonder if you could do that with sounds though in the future, you know, have it beep when you're closer to the barcode.
Yeah, we also did attempt that, and it just didn't work because of the scale at which it was, because we do have the same technology working on the app. So we do have the technology of the beeping, of the detection, of the scanning. There's also a database that we can look into. So we have all the technicalities of it, but when we attempted implementing it, technically it just was not able to actually have an image feed to recognize the barcode well enough.
Give it to me. Let me try it. Give it to me. Give me the option to try it.
So that is something that we at Envision, we sort of only want to sort of like push stuff that we know people will have a good experience with. And because we were not able to successfully generate a good experience with having a barcode scanner on the glasses amongst all of our like beta users, we sort of didn't. So it always got stuck in the beta like group, and it never I would say like passed to becoming something that will be in a production version.
Can I just say thank you so much for answering the question so frankly, and it's certainly a lesson for us totally blind people where, you know, we don't know so much about cameras. So thank you for that.
All right, Steve. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. All right. Then there are a couple of more questions that are on here. So let me just read the questions before I bring more people on the panel. There is a question from a Lewis who is asking, I would like to see on the described scene, instead of taking a picture, I would like to be able to just point the glasses or app to something and it automatically start describing the scene or object it is looking at. Yes, Louis. So this is definitely something that we all want the scene description to evolve into, right? So basically what you're describing is something like a described scene to work with a video feed instead of with images, right? Where right now you have to consciously take an image and then we process the image and then we give you a description. What you're saying is that it should work with a video feed the way it works with like a find objects or explore a mode on the glasses or the app. The only sort of a bottleneck here in this case is the processing and the latency that is coming into the place with it, right? Right now, when you are when there is a processing that's happening of an image that is that is captured, that image still needs to be processed, and as of now, there is there is a latency of anywhere between 5 to 15 seconds, depending on like how good your internet is and how good is the processor on your phone. And because of that, like latency, there's always going to be that wait time that you will have to deal with, and that's why it's not as easy to process a video feed for us as of now, because technically speaking, like a video feed is just a series of images. If you're shooting something at a 30 FPS, it's basically taking 30 images in a second. And if you're going to constantly keep sending 30 images a second for it to process, the latency is just going to build up, and we'll not be able to give you a description quickly enough for us to understand it. But this is something that we believe is going to very sort of like quickly evolve. We will be able to decrease the latency that it takes to do the processing to offer a description of an image. We will have better processors on devices going forward, so the processing will be able to happen at a much like faster rate. But also the like the AI models itself will be optimized so that they can all happen offline. They can all happen at like a fast rate. And something that Karthik Kanan was talking about earlier, we are doing a lot of R&D into increasing this sort of a process where it feels like you're almost having a real-time sort of a conversation with an AI. So that is definitely something that is our our goal as well. As of now, it's just a technical limitation that we have to deal with, this latency, because the AI is very good at describing images, but if you offer it too many images in a row, then it will slow down the processing of that AI. But eventually, I think that's what we at Envision would also love to have, where it's just able to take on a video feed and constantly keep offering you a description of it. The other two just side effects, in addition to the latency, would be just the device heating up, because if it's going to be doing so much of your processing, and if the processor has to do so much of like the crunching constantly, it will heat up the device. And in addition to that, it'll also drain the battery very significantly. So if it's constantly going to take videos and it's going to constantly analyze each and every frame of that video, there's also going to be a drain on like a battery of it. So those are some of the technical considerations that we need to have, and that's why I think it is eventually going to happen. But there'll be a lot more halfway solutions that we will be building as we work towards that experience eventually. Then before I take more questions, let me invite more people onto the panel. I'm going to invite Carteresa. Carteresa, you can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Okay. Hey. Okay.
Hi.
Can y'all hear me? Okay. Can the Envision AI app be found on a PC? Can you use it on your PC? On a computer, is it just a phone app?
So as of now, it's just a phone app. We are working on a web app. So we will be launching soon Envision on the web. So you will be able to use it on the web on a Chrome or a Safari browser, and that will operate on a PC as well. So that is currently in the works.
Oh, so how would you be able to scan your text from your like if you want to read something, how could you be able to scan your text if we activate it on your PC?
Yeah, so you can basically you will be able to go to our website of Envision, and on that website you'll be able to just sort of process either any of files that you already have on your PC, or you can make a connection of your PC to an external webcam or any sort of a camera that you have that will be able to capture an image as well and be able to read any piece of your text that's on there.
And just a small note, Katresa, sorry to chime in. This is very early experiments that we're trying to do. For example, what we've noticed is that when you use an iOS device with a Mac, for example, you can make use of something called the continuity camera. We're trying to build something like that for the Envision app as well, where you could maybe use the Envision app on your phone itself as a scanner of sorts, right? So you can just say scan with the Envision app, and it opens the Envision app on your phone. You could go ahead and use the same document guidance feature that we have on the Envision app to go ahead and scan a document, and that then takes takes a picture of you on the Envision app and then brings it over to the Envision web. So this is also like an idea that we've been toying around with, which you might be able to use the Envision app itself as a bit of an external camera, rather along with other external cameras that you might want to use. So that's something that we've been playing around with as well. But you should definitely come back hopefully in April and ask us this question about Envision on the web, and we'll have an answer for you then.
Okay, thank you.
Then there is a question from Wesley, who asks, is there a plans for Envision development on for other wearables such as a Meta Quest 3 or Pro? To elaborate further on the questions I asked, as many devices bring workspaces into virtual environment, could Envision app or software be used to recognize and communicate the screens and documents generated through these wearables? If so, this could change platform accessibility across the board. Yes, Wesley, so that is what Envision is working towards. We're trying to build like something that's very ubiquitous that you can take with you anywhere on any of the device that's going to be coming out. There has been announcement of a plethora of these wearables out in the market right now. And Envision is constantly engaging with all of these new or wearables that are out there to understand exactly how can Envision play a role in making these devices more accessible and also you're making the world more accessible, sort of using these devices as a medium. So that's constantly something that we are looking into. There's a lot of sort of like unexplored areas when it comes to that. So that's definitely something we're always on a lookout for. And as in when there's updates on sort of like on like what we can do with respect to these, we will definitely sort of announce it and we'll like keep you updated. I'm going to bring another our panelist, Kannan Balasubramaniam. Kannan, you can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, actually, we are from India. I'm from India. So we are using our Envision app. Many people, hundreds and thousands of people are using Envision app. Will you make available it in the Envision glasses? Will you make available in India so that we are also get benefit out of it? Because currently we have to import from abroad. It's there are some practical difficulties. If it is made available in India, then hundreds of people can buy it, and you would benefit.
No, definitely. So Envision glasses are currently already available in India. We don't work through a distributor there, but we do operate directly in India as well. So you
Good,
can
sir.
order it online on our like web shop, and we
Okay,
will be able to ship the glasses to you from within India itself. So there won't be any sort of customs or import duties.
That's what. Yes. That is my concern. Yes, sir. If it is so, then it will be very great news for us.
Yes. So
I'll contact you through email so that I can get benefit out of it.
yes, please do. We
Yes,
have
sir.
a means of having it shipped within India with our local like partners there.
So nice, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. And with that, a question, I unfortunately will have to bring this webinar to a close because we do have to jump off on another, like a webinar that is being hosted by people at like BlindShell immediately after this. I still see a lot of raised hands, so I'm very sorry we will not be able to get to those questions now, but you can always reach out to our team. So if you just reach out to support@letsenvision.com, we will be able to answer all the questions that you might have on there. So I do want to thank everybody for taking the time out today to jump on this webinar and to listen to these amazing updates from you. This is just the beginning. There's a bunch more exciting stuff that is going to be coming out of Envision in this year. We are just getting started. So do stay tuned on all of our socials for announcements and updates. And we'll see you next month with another exciting webinar. Until then, do have a good day and take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.